Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Inspiring Woman interview with Melissa Hopkins. I am Jen Wells, the co-founder of brandswan, and I'm super excited to have Melissa here today. I knew Melissa was involved in Dana as Executive Vice President of Sector Advancement, but what I did not know and just found out is that she is also involved with the YMCA as the Delegation Advisor for Youth in Government. And she's the board chair for Newark Day Nursery and Children's Center. So rather than display my ignorance trying to explain those titles, I will have Melissa tell you what all of that means and the roles that she plays.
So in my role with Delaware Alliance for Nonprofit Advancement, the title is Executive Vice President of Sector Advancement, but what that really means is that I work with organizations and I build relationships. So I oversee our membership, I oversee our marketing and communications, and our public policy initiatives and fundraising, so super fun. And then I also plan our annual conference each year. And this year, we're actually focusing on the concept of failure and how success is failure in progress. And so how do we take failure and turn it into innovation? So that's a little bit about my role with Dana. Then for fun, I am the board chair of Newark Day Nursery and Children's Center in the Newark area, and they are a nonprofit child care center, and they are five-star center, very high quality, and serving children regardless of their income level. It's an incredibly diverse center offering a super high quality early childhood experience for students. I also am the delegation advisor for the Bear Glasgow YMCA Youth in Government program. And I work with students both in middle school in the fall and high school in the spring as they participate in a model legislative and judicial experience. And each student who's in the legislative branch, they write their own bills that they develop the concept themselves and they present it, and it works its way through a legislative process. And it's really exciting for students, and I really love doing it. It's really interesting to see what the next generation is thinking about and how they want to build the future.
Is there like a common thread in the different organizations that you're involved with, or did you just kind of fall into those roles?
I, to a degree, fell into some of the roles. The early childhood education has always been a passion of mine. And prior to being with Dana, I was working in the education policy space and learned a ton about the services and opportunities and how much students from birth to 8 benefit from very high quality education and how it sets up their success for the future. I want to get back to the communities in which I live. So that's how I got started with the Newark Day Nursery opportunity. And then youth in government, when I was a staffer in the legislature, what feels like a lifetime ago, their program was taking place on a day that I was working, and I got to go watch, and I thought, this is incredible to see the things that these kids have come up with. And the very next day I filled out the volunteer form on the YMCA website to come in and volunteer for the program. And so that's when I started.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to ask a couple questions about Dana.
Sure.
One is that Dana is unique in that it's a nonprofit that focuses on membership and aiding other nonprofits. Yeah. How would that, for people who aren't as familiar with the nonprofit world, what is different about that versus a more traditional nonprofit that has a cause with people?
Sure. So how I like to think about Dana is that we are helping nonprofits do the work that they are wonderful at. We're helping them to do it better and smarter. Our mission is to strengthen, enhance, and advance the nonprofit sector. And we do that through consulting support and helping organizations build their capacity. So you only have so many hours in the day, and your organization may only have so many skills on their team. So how do we help you fill the gaps? And how do we create really strong governance structures so that organizations are sustainable and they're not living in this space of the equivalent of a paycheck to paycheck? It's really about creating the environment to thrive. So Dana's really trying to help nonprofits. Like, we're just trying to help prop them up and give them the support they need. And we are a membership organization, but our membership rates are incredibly affordable. It's built on a sliding scale so that no one is left in a place where they can't have a Dana membership in order to access services.
Yeah. What tips would you have for someone who was thinking about starting a nonprofit?
Someone that wants to start a nonprofit, that's really exciting that they want to give back to the community. But I always think it's really important to do your research and understand who else is in your market. And so who are you competing with for clients, for funding? Are you serving a need that exists? Or are there other organizations that are serving the need that potentially you could partner with? So to me, the first step is to just understand the market.
All right, pop quiz. How do you define success?
I think for me, success is that I'm happy and I feel fulfilled. And I think for everybody that looks different. For me, it's about achieving at work and supporting the organizations that, my job is to support, and, doing it all with a smile. I don't ever want to be in a role where I'm unhappy. You only get one life. You have to do what you love. And so I get to do that every day, and it's really exciting.
Can you tell us about a turning point in your career or in your life and what you learned from it?
Yeah, I can actually. So I went to University of Delaware part-time and worked for University of Delaware full-time to pay my tuition. And so it took me 9 years to graduate from University of Delaware. I was doing administrative assistant work. I had lots of great work experience and I gained a ton of skills. But to me, there was nothing better than having a really quality, amazing mentor. And that person for me is someone named Stephanie McClellan. She was a professor at the University of Delaware, and I worked in the department, and she ended up running for office. And I just graduated and was looking at jobs. And I said, I'd love to come volunteer for your campaign. And we had such a good time. And I learned so much from her on her campaign that at the end, when she was elected and she offered me a job, that was my first step into government and doing the kind of work I wanted to do, working with the community. And if I didn't have somebody like putting their hand down to lift me up, that wouldn't have happened. And so I always try and think, okay, I want to be the hands that lifts the next person up. So I think for me, that was the turning point.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to start winding down a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you make time for it all?
So I get up really early. I get up at 4:30 in the morning to go work out at 5 a.m. because that's the time that I take for myself. And I need it. It's like a mental health thing for me. And in order, again, to be happy, that's a piece of the puzzle for me. And then I would say that I am really careful about creating boundaries. So once I get home from work, that's the time that I spend with my family, with my husband and my son. And I really try not to check email and be on my phone. I'm really careful about being present. So then after my son goes to bed, sometimes I'll check emails. But I would say also that I'm a really big fan of sleep and I go to bed very early. So, but I think it's just, some days I don't have time for it all. And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah. Chandra Rhimes, Year of Yes, she talks about how she's constantly failing, right? And it doesn't look like failing because you've got 8 balls in the air and 5 of them are going up, but the other 3 are coming down.
Yeah, I guess like, and I will say, again, just to be like really candid, I'm certainly not perfect. And there are days when I feel like I'm failing everybody, but the days where I feel like good about the impact I'm making outweigh the days when I feel like I can't do it all. And tomorrow is always a new day, and I'm a day older and a day wiser. And so you just pick up the ball again the next day.